Souped-up graphics for games are always nice to look at, but I'm still a pretty big fan of text-based adventure games, of which I've made a few in the years that I've been programming. The first game I ever made was a text-based combat game in a language called Just Basic, though it would be more than fair to say that it sucked. Despite this, there's a charm to text-based games, and that's why there's still a lot of people out there who enjoys these types of games. As such, I've started a new little project. The idea of this is to create an empty shell of an adventure game that a novice programmer will be able to take and build their own story into. I'm not really sure what to call this, as it's not really a game engine or anything similar, so I'm just going to refer to it as the text game environment. All of this will be published to GitHub if you want to download and use it, or just have a play around with it. I will also likely split up parts of it and upload them to their own repositories for people to download. So what I've got so far is the main user interface that is called at the start of the program, which sets the console window size and draws all the boxes and information to the console ready. This uses functions from a static draw class that I found online developed by Ryan White. Link will be in the description below. This class has public functions that can be called to draw boxes of different shapes, sizes and colours to the console. Whilst it is somewhat limited in functionality, it's incredibly useful to use and saved me many hours of work trying to develop this myself. The class that defines all the boxes and information in them is the static Draw Gui class. This class has a public function that is called at the start to set the console window size and draw all the necessary borders. It then calls private functions to draw the remaining information boxes before calling the update functions for these boxes. Each separate box displays different information such as player stats, NPCs, story text, etc., and has public functions that can be called by other classes to update the information shown on the console. These public functions work by directly accessing the player's stats from the static player class or need to be passed a list of the appropriate information. They will then clear the box of its current information before rewriting it with the updated information. All the public update functions can be called at any point in the program by any other class, allowing for specific pieces of information to be updated as and when they need to be. Originally, I was going to just have one public function to redraw everything, but decided that would be a poor choice for optimization and it would also have limited versatility. Redrawing everything just to update a single value on the screen is a daft idea and wasn't really that smart. All of this has been uploaded to its own GitHub repository with a link in the description below. The project also has two other static classes, the player class and the start display class. The player class stores all the data for the player in public variables for them to be easily accessed and manipulated by the other classes. The player class also handles player input by having a public player inputs function that can be called to check which button the player presses and assigning it to a variable in the function that called it. This allows ease of use when processing player input, as it only requires a single line of code to assign the player's input to an integer variable for processing. I've also stuck together a basic character creator for the player to set their character's name and roll their stats, before showing them their character sheet when they have finished. This did require a bit of a rethink to the function that updates the main information box in the console, as originally this function just took a single string as an argument. But this made formatting the text in the box almost impossible, short of printing a load of white space between each part of the string to try and format it to look good. So a quick update later, and it now takes a string list argument, printing each string in the list to its own line, making formatting the line within the box a million times easier. So that's my progress so far. I'll post another development log once I've added more to the project. If you want more regular updates, then follow me on Twitter or check out my GitHub and take a look at the code yourself. Feel free to tweet me on Twitter if you have any suggestions or find any bugs. I suspect it's most likely going to be the latter on that one. In the meantime, take care guys and keep jamming.